Gentlemen, apologies for being 2 minutes late to the stream, but I was getting prepared, getting things finalized as much as I can. Especially, well, just want to say that it's good to be back. It's going to be really cool to actually read this, read this book. You guys have no idea how many times I've read this book, and there's just a lot. There's nearly 600 pages. I'm not gonna read through the whole thing. As I said in the title, put in the title. Uh, it's gonna be the first section. I I want to actually go through the whole book. I want to read through the whole book, and I just want to take a couple chapters at a time. Uh, there might be a few chapters I might have to just be one chapter for the week because they are seriously long. At some chapters are seriously long. So thank y'all for being here. There's I'm just I'm ready to go. But first I just wanted to check how's everyone doing so far? How's everyone? And also while we get this going, get out the word. All right. Let's get the word out. Man. Whew. Let me do that. Let me do that. I'll put this out. There's always one thing I'll tell you about being an indie creator, just being part of indie is a lot of work on just a lot of work on one person. And I mean, hey, that's all right. All right. All right. Okay. Let's get into this. All right. Let's do this. Gods and Goddesses, Children of Ragnarøkkr by Donovan E. March, which is me. Special thanks for those who love mature dark fantasy books with illustrations. To the artists I worked with that made this into a reality, Carmen Sefex, Arosama 3, Clue Wolf, Esquivio, Nefarious Watcher, and Nefrisan. Thank you so much. To my beta readers, Nefarious Watcher, Red Moon, and Red Wren, I thank you three as well. Prologue. A 9-foot tall being of hardened magma prays before a memorial shrine, his silence broken by hooting owls and fluttering of wings from the shadows cast beyond the dense vegetation by the burning lava within his cracked body. He dons a red loincloth and a black belt with a specialized golden buckle that resembles a beast's skull. The lava within his skin flows but never seeps out. Eye sockets are dark, a skeletal nose with no bone, and hardened magma and small cracks of lava light. His mouth has no lips, teeth as sharp as the two black horns that jet out from his forehead and curve upwards, and in a face that has a gray color similar to a smooth rock. Other parts of his body resemble that gray texture, most notably with the forearms and knees. I think. Alright. Finishing the silent prayer, his eye sockets glow with lava, as if opening his non-existent eyes. Turning away from the shrine, the masculine being feels regret, a haunting. The memory of that day caused a deep trauma, and through that cruelty, also a calling. Heading back home, he stops before a woman dressed as a Ronin. Straw hat, gray kimono, and a blade at her hip. A red string tied around her horn, symbolizing she's loyal to her significant other, accompanied by small lantern earrings that dimly glow. Rengoku, he says with surprise, what brings you here? For several seconds, she's quiet, judging how to respond. To put it simply, they're dead. Valhalla and Hell have been murdered. I have failed to save them. From who? He asks in shock. Why? Why were they killed? For what reason? I don't know. It's complicated, Ragnarøkkr. What of the children? They're unharmed. They are now in your sole care. Wounded by the news, he can't help but think that Rengoku isn't telling him enough, though he is unsure how to handle this, as he is once again powerless to save his loved ones. Why did I not know as soon as it was happening? Why? I don't know the answers to that, but So and I cannot avoid them any longer. We're going to face them. They won't attack you because they know what you can do. She sighs, getting closer to him, those unique demonic eyes showing both anger and sorrow. Taking out a smoking pipe from her kimono, the demoness uses pyromancy to light it, proceeding to smoke as she stands 7 feet tall. The moonlight complements her youthful caramel-colored skin, even highlighting the black hair with strips of natural white that goes down to her back. Exhaling a puff of smoke, she says, "Take care of them. If we live, we'll be back. If we don't, you'll know." I'm not going to let the children lose another mother, his voice firm with anger. Lowering the pipe to her stomach, her eyes look into his sockets. It's not as easy as you think. And right now, you're still recovering from what happened many years ago. Time works differently for us. I understand that, but you're their best option. So and I are going out for vengeance. They stare at each other firmly. The taller being looks at the sword known as Soul, and then at her. Just let it protect you as much as it can. It is a strong weapon. It's the strongest I've ever had. She offers her free hand to him, and he gently takes it into his, knowing that this could be the last time they see each other. They share a solemn moment of silence for those who passed, for what was lost, for what will come. Chapter 1. Divine Family. From there on, the patriarch placed focus on the godlings, his 6 children from 3 mothers, a pair of twins from Hell, Rengoku, and Valhalla each. Parenting at first was a chore for the patriarch. With time, however, he grew accustomed to his fatherly role quickly. Sometimes the enabler, his closest ally, would help guide him as he did a majority of the work. The twin god-eaters, Raylish and Resif, would visit and discuss topics with Ragnarøkkr. They witnessed the godlings grow from infancy to currently 12 years of life, and the godlings would always become a part of the topics discussed. Presently, it is late at night, and the patriarch rests in the same room with his children. For something like him, there is no need for sleep. As for his little ones, they are vastly different from their father, except for some characteristics. He wonders what they will be like once they reach full maturity, and and if his style of parenting will cause positives in the world. Observing his children, at first glance they all appear to be like mortals, though a well-trained eye would be able to see what they truly are. All have small horns coming either from their forehead, the top of their head, or the sides of their head. Only 2 have tails, and that is the youngest of the pairs, Heaven and Narcissism. These twins are brother and sister, Narcissism being a self-explanatory name, and Heaven being the only daughter. She's the most reserved out of all her siblings. Second would be Purgatory, of the second oldest pair of twins. Purgatory and Sanity, Rengoku gave birth to them. These 2 are the most abnormal duo the father has seen. Purgatory reminds him of Rengoku, with that stern and serious personality. Insanity does things that can be described as entropic with an oddly reasonable sense to them. By no means is this son completely out of sanity. In fact, the patriarch knows that his wild son is quite smart. The godling of entropy just puts on an act to mess with the others for harmless fun, usually. Then there are the oldest pair of twins, Hell and Destruction. Just like Purgatory, they too are serious, though are reclusive and only interact with others if necessary. They mostly interact with each other as they occupy themselves with small tasks they give to the other to better learn the environment they live in. Many would think they are mute. That is simply not the case. I wonder if this is how Gluttony and Vacona felt when their children were once young, he thought. This feeling of creating such children that one is uncertain how future events will play out. The morning arrives in the mortal plane, where Ragnarøkkr and his godlings live. Side note, the mortal plane is the existence within Earth that is primarily for mortals and natural creatures. There have been some exploits where extraordinary beings can enter the plane and live there for many years to shape parts of that existence. Their sanctuary within the untouched parts of where man does not usually travel is exclusively peaceful and yet chaotic at the same time, due to the divine children. The expansive forest expertly hides the sanctuary that Ragnarøkkr built for his family. The forest is occupied by supernatural creatures, some friendly and some unfriendly, but both steer clear away from the divine family. This plane serves the divines quite well, with minor or no problems at all. A place where the patriarch wants his children to grow. Narcissism. What did you do now? The father asks in frustration. It is nothing. He's making a scene about nothing. The youngest son's tone of voice reveals he's annoyed. If that was true, you wouldn't have been on the ground with him on top trying to beat you. I'll ask again, Narcissism. What did you do? The youngest son with golden eyes grumbles, then looks up, staring into their father's lava-filled eye sockets. I pushed him because he was in my way, he truthfully answers. Was he actively trying to be in your way? Or did he just say nothing? Or did you just say nothing and push him because you could? Because I could, Narcissism answers with more honesty. As I thought. Anybody who gets in my way will be pushed. It is his fault for not being smart enough to move. Narcissism, not liking to admit his wrongdoings and blaming others for his twisted behavior, only makes Purgatory have a cold expression. Those brownish-black pupils glancing over at his youngest brother, staring daggers. Enough! Purgatory, go back to wherever you were doing. Narcissism, you're coming with me. I am not going with you. The patriarch is no stranger to his youngest challenging him. He simply picks up the defiant godling, looking the youngest son in the eye. The godling tries to get out of his father's grasp, but is unsuccessful. Put me down, the youngest son demands. Behave yourself, because you're going with me. I'm going to teach you something different, since you are not receptive about caring for others except for yourself. They're idiots! You deal with idiots by getting rid of them. Your yelling only shows your foolishness, along with those words you spoke. The father begins to walk away while carrying the son, heading towards the main entrance of the sanctuary. In a short moment, there are 2 knocks at the heavy doors. The light knocks are in sync. I'll tell them that you're being mean. That's rich coming from you. Ragnarøkkr finds that somewhat amusing as he uses his power to open the doors with little effort. Standing there at the now open entrance are the twin god eaters, Resif and Raylish. The attires they wear are inspired by the Eastern land, the clothing taking the luxury of being a long dress with sleeves as the footwear are Ikat shoes. The style of the long dresses are identical, the main color being white and the design pattern on the chest area is the same size as their ribs. The pattern is gold and red with flowery design. The vines are gold and the flowers red. The style of their shoes follows a similar pattern, matching the long dresses, and the veils are thin and rich and white. Recif and Relish's coral red colored hair is neatly combed, hanging down as the length of their hanging down as the length of the hair reaches to the middle of their backs. Their pinkish eyes are like jewels created from the immense and unforgiving heat of the underworld. Side note: the underworld is another plane where damned souls are sent to suffer for eternity. Within that plane, beasts, unholy creatures, and beings of either wickedness or tainted creation hail from that existence. If strong enough, they can bleed into the other existences and wreak havoc. Guardians are of such beings that are from tainted birth, and are best known for their never-ending hunger, power, unnatural beauty, and strong desires that makes them unpredictably dangerous. The twin Guardians' pointed ears poke out from their red hair. They look beautiful today, just like almost always when they come to visit and help the godlings learn, while also filling motherly roles. Recif and Raylish, it's good to see you both, the patriarch greets. Ragnarøkkr, this one in your arms is upset. The usual? As always, Raylish. The father looks at his youngest son with some disappointment as the two Guardians nod. Narcissism tries to get out of his father's arms again. The godling is unsuccessful. He's being a bad father. He's taking me onto one of his uneventful trips, Narcissism says with anger. It is only fitting that a bad father disciplines his bad son. Where the three of us come from, be thankful that this trip will only be uneventful, unsweet Narcissism. As Recif said, there are things in life that pose great danger. Be grateful he is a good parent. With that, the twin guiders give the godling a kiss on the cheek after lifting up their veils and leaning in. Both father and son caught a glimpse of the sharp teeth the twin demonesses have before their lips conceal them after giving the youngest son a kiss. To Narcissism, he's used to that, seeing it as only just how their teeth are formed. To Ragnarøkkr, however, he wonders just how many were devoured before they set their sights on him and deemed him as their ultimate prey. A rare few can ever only coexist with a god eater, and that's if they're the most desired prey. But that can mean a lot of things, knowing how a god eater functions. Usually it falls between sex, affection, and sometimes love, since these apex demons are a part of the sin of lust and the sin of gluttony. He's met the whole family under circumstances that were dire, forming a trustworthy bond with the family, in fact, and gaining the blessing of the first god eater, Vicona, titling him the sacred prey. Ragnarøkkr? Ah, yes? His train of thought is interrupted by Raylish before both guiders give him a kiss on the cheek too. Don't be hard on the little snack. He looks up to you. I do not, cries out in embarrassed Narcissism. The twin sisters grin deviously behind their white veils, walking away to tend to their godlings. Ragnarøkkr goes to walk out the sanctuary with his son, thinking about the past. Finally setting his son down, Narcissism tries to run off, only for his father to return him due to a simple teleportation. Frustrated, the son with cherry blossom colored hair does his best to resist by sitting down and pouting. Why are you doing this? The godling yells. I had enough. Seeing fury in his golden eyes and experiencing the son's tantrum, this is nothing new to the patriarch as he sits down in front of him. A couple steps away towards Ragnarøkkr's right side is a flowing river accompanied by stepping stones that have been placed in a line that lead to the other side of the land. The forest is almost tranquil, though the godling breaks the peace. The blue sky with wispy white clouds reflects upon the matter as the clouds interrupt the infinite blue-colored sky. You know why. You're selfish. Do not act like this. Why must we keep having these moments? Why continue to waste everyone's time, including yours? You could be listening to Raylish and Racev's teachings, yet here we are, father and son out in the wilderness, displaying you once more. What are you achieving by doing this? Go on and tell me, because I am still trying to figure out why you're acting up. Seeing his father not move a muscle as he sits straight, there's authority emanating off him. No anger, only sternness. The godling knows when he is testing his father's patience, and right now his father is on the second to last tolerance level if he brought him out here. Narcissism looks down at the grassy ground, not wanting to look into his father's glowing eye sockets. Narcissism Ragnarøkkr strings, the father firmly says, his son's full name. Look at your father when he speaks to you. Looking back up to the older male, the selfish godling's eyes look directly into the eye sockets. You being so quiet now will not put an end to this. Any other time you want to interrupt and backtalk, but when faced with reality, you quiet down. Only cowards do that. Are you a coward, my son? He asked to get a response out of his youngest. No. Good. Now get to talking with me. The patriarch awaits his son's next words. He can see a bit of himself in Narcissism, the way he hesitates. The patriarch was like that at one point in time when he was growing, being under his father's supervision for a moment in his life. Back then, though, things were heavily different and circumstances were not as forgiving. The patriarch would discipline. He would not mistreat his spawn. I can't say. I don't know what to say. I do it just to do it. That is your reasoning? Just because you can? Ragnarøkkr does not like this one bit. Not an acceptable answer. There are always reasons as to why things are done. A motive of some kind, and just hiding behind that excuse does not cut it. I've seen you on your best behavior numerous times, but when you do these things to hurt others, you did it for a reason. You pushing purgatory just because he was in the way is not acceptable. You are almost always specifically targeting him. Are you jealous of him? Do you dislike your brother? Has he done something to you? No, it is none of those. He's too boring, and I guess I like messing with him. A smirk is seen from his son. The older being sighs. This one always gets on his nerves. I will tell you one more time, Narcissism Ragnarøkkr strings. Leave your brother alone. If you do not heed my warning, I will be sure to give you a fitting consequence. Fine. The godling is still annoyed as he watches his father get up. The godling decides to stand up too, since he wants to return home. He's not a fan of the outdoors, for he sees it as ugly. With buildings, however, they can be created in any way that would be visually appealing. Beauty, his true passion of enjoying life. He's heard that he and his sister's mother was a lovely succubus, and that was a zealous being of religious desire. The godling wonders if she were still around, would this area have actual beauty? Could such a thing exist? One day he will bring it into reality. Father? Yes, my boy? Ragnarøkkr looks down at his youngest son, who clasps his hand together while thinking. Tell me another story about my mother. How did you two meet? When those words were spoken, the patriarch remembers when he was helped out of captivity while in the cycle of lust. Side note, the cycle of lust is a part of the underworld that the sin of lust has created for itself and its various creatures of desire. Examples of such are succubi, incubi, and the god-eaters. It is not uncommon for creatures of desire to hail from more than one cycle in the underworld, since god-eaters are both from the cycles of lust and gluttony. There against his will, powerless and defeated, later to be saved by 3 succubi, Bahala being one of them. That's a long story, my son. You will not be patient with it, nor are you old enough to comprehend certain matters. Father. To keep it short, she walked into my life one day and helped me. She was a daring succubus and a good mother before she passed on. He responds before walking over to the river. Come on, Narcissism. We're not done here yet. Letting out a groan, the godling follows behind the father, wanting to know more about his mother. The father doesn't use the stepping stones to cross the river, only walking through the river as the water avoids him. The son, however, uses stepping stones, hopping on each one to get to the other side. Upon getting to the other side, the father looks back as the godling, who hops off the last rock and onto the ground. He knows that Narcissism is not one for the outdoors, but doesn't care about how his son feels right now. Right now, they will be just venturing around the wilderness until he makes the decision that it's time to return to the sanctuary. Ragnarøkkr figures this would probably be good for the both of them, since this may calm down and interest his son with how valuable the world is with nature. It might even become a hobby of his. Narcissism holds his father's hand, feeling unsure about this place. I do not like this place, the godling mumbles. Nothing but trees and stupid animals. Ragnarøkkr smirks at the comment. There's some enjoyment that Narcissism is comfortable about walking around in this forest. It is not that bad, my son. You could learn a thing or two about lands like this and the responsibilities you will have when the time comes. Responsible for what? Being a guardian of a dumb forest? I'd rather sit and listen to insanity than become a protector of something worthless. Who said anything about you watching over forests? Ragnarøkkr asked with visible confusion on his face. Oh, no one. Thought that you were telling me that I was going to... Never mind. The godling is confused. He was feeling very combative with words, but now he's embarrassed. Son, be quiet and observe nature with me. You may come to like it and learn. I know I did when I was shown things I never knew about. Learn from nature? I learn better from idiot mortals, the son grumbles. It's the afternoon as the two return to the sanctuary. A look of boredom on Narcissism's face after having to wander around with his father and being forced to learn about topics that seemed invaluable to him. The entry doors open on their own for the deities, and upon entering, the fourth son appears in a blink of an eye. Pappy, he exclaims with glee. Insanity, what has gotten you so hyper? I like learning about the forest. It was a nice trip. Insanity's smile is as wide as his shining eyes. Even though this one was not at all present with them, he is ecstatic from the new knowledge gained. Ragnarøkkr looks down at the entropic godling, not even bothering to ask, since this one is quite special. In all honesty, he's never encountered such an abnormal being like him. The fourth son is wearing a neatly colored loincloth that is white with a purple belt, his shoulder-length white hair somewhat masking his face. I am glad to know that you learned. 4 more arms sprout out from Insanity before he hugs his father's right leg, chuckling to himself. Narcissism is no stranger to this type of behavior. In fact, he's glad that he's not his twin. Purgatory can have the honor of that fact. The patriarch leans down some to pat the entropic son on the head, minding small horns. Narcissism walks away, not wanting to be in the same area with them, soon disappearing as he rounds a corner. Pappy, first and second outer Okasans are still here. They want to talk with you. They always do, he whispers to himself before clearing his throat. What else did you learn, my son? The father stops patting the godling's head, seeing his entropic son now gazing up at him with a wide smile. A lot. Later in the day, the family is eating a large meal that the patriarch has made, along with Purgatory, who volunteered to help make it. The stone table is oval-shaped, and everyone is sitting at their usual seats while they feast. Hell and Destruction sit farthest away from everyone, keeping to themselves. In the middle is Purgatory and Insanity. The abnormal duo sit across from each other as Insanity swallows his food whole without chewing before initiating a conversation with Purgatory. His twin is taking the time to eat, savoring the food that he helped prepare before responding. At the upper part of the table is Heaven and Narcissism, polar opposites, as if they're incompatible halves. Heaven listens to what Purgatory and Sandy talk about and what their father is conversing with, the twin other mothers. Close to finishing dinner, she notices that Narcissus didn't eat yet. For the youngest godling, plans on irritating the patriarch as payback. At the other end of the table sits Ragnarøkkr, Raylish, and Risef. The three discuss what should be taught to the children next and how to go about it. The Deities are already on their 8th plate, consuming more than the divine family does. I'll think about that later on. I see you two are enjoying the meal. We are most grateful that both our prey and purgatory are good cooks, Raylish responds. The blood-red lips are no longer covered by the veils they wore. Carnivorous teeth are much clearer now when they consume more. I know Purgatory is appreciative already from seeing almost everyone eating. Ragnarøkkr sees that Narcissus is testing his patience by not touching the meal, and that Purgatory is glancing at his youngest brother. Something is bound to happen, and the father wonders if Purgatory will speak up about it. He will only intervene if there is escalation. Yes, almost everyone, Risep chimes in. The two sisters had already noticed what the selfish godling was doing, and were simply not confronting him out of respect for the sacred prey. That, and to not ruin the familial mood they have come to experience from time to time. Brother, Heaven softly says, you must eat. I don't think you should starve yourself. How about you mind your business for once? The brother verbally clashes with his twin sister, annoyed until a miniature void opens in front of him and sucks in the dinner before vanishing. Narcissus looks around in surprise as to what just happened and if anyone else saw that. Indeed, the others have witnessed it, but in a strange turn of events, Insanity pulls the plate out of his mouth, placing the saliva-covered item onto the smooth surface of the stone table. Nonchalantly, he looks at his youngest brother. There, now you ate it. What? Narcissus is just dumbfounded, realizing seconds later he's now full without even consuming the meal. Risef and Raylish stare at the bizarre godling with slight concern and with a hint of amusement. The room is quiet until chuckling is heard from Purgatory, who rarely has a sense of humor. Ragnarøkkr, that one is going to be something one day. You don't know what, though. It's best not to think about it, Risef whispers. I've known that ever since they were infants, the patriarch replies. That night, once everything calmed down and the godlings were put to bed by the outer mothers, the patriarch is in his bedchambers, contemplating what to do for tomorrow. The sockets of his eyes are completely dark. He sits on his bed, resting his chin. Resting his chin on the fist. The sockets glow again, sensing the Gaudier's presence, wanting him to know that they were there. Pray, Raylish's voice is sultry. Feed us tonight for taking such good care of the children, Risef adds with the same tone. The sisters' eyes glow faintly within the dark, yet Ragnarøkkr's body provides enough light to make out they're wearing nothing. They have one desire in mind. Standing up, the heights between him and them is a night and day difference. He knows better than to deny Gaier's specific request. But this is more of a sacred act to him. An act as a way to show his appreciation to them for all they have done. Oh, okay. That was chapter 1. Hey, Flameclaw, what's up? And Fox, what's up, man? Drop by to say what's up. Hey. Oh, all right. That was good. That was really good. I thought I messed up a little bit, but I thought I was gonna be starting everywhere. I forgot to mention that this version I have pulled up is a draft. It's one of the drafts. It's not the final draft, obviously, but if things seem a little out of place, I apologize. I just was looking through my little records on my storage, and I'm like, okay, well, here it is. And when I'm reading through, I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, it's one of the probably the second last draft or something, final draft or something like that. I gotta say, for this chapter, when I wrote this chapter, this is gonna serve as a little intermission because I need a little break from all that. I gotta say, when I was writing like the prologue in the first chapter, the prologue, I don't really plan for a lot of things. Not saying I don't plan at all. I just have ideas, and then I see like, okay, is this gonna work? And for like the prologue with Ragnarøkkr describing him and Rengoku coming into play. If you guys want to take a glance real quick, this is Ragnarøkkr right here. I was trying to do my best to describe him and everything. And of course, with Rengoku, I mean, this was cool, honestly. And I'm really appreciative that Carmen Sefex and Nefri-san were able to make these illustrations for me. Uh, this one being by Nefri-san herself, and this one by Carmen Sefex, which is he's the main illustrator of Gods and Goddesses. Now with chapter 1, of course, narcissism right here. Narcissism is or Narcy, I like call him short at times. He's one of my favorites. Honestly, all a lot of them are, but Narcy, he's he's definitely that ass. He's like he's just an ass to everyone. Always butting heads with people, and that, I mean, that's just perfect. When you if you ever been if you ever have that sibling, or if you do have a sibling, they're that type. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be bringing back some memories a little bit. I really kind of want use a little bit of reality. Now, if you guys know me, I'm pretty sure you guys do, is that I love fantasy and I love to keep it, fantastical or just mythological. Just keep it that, but there are tidbits of personal experiences in there. And Narcy is definitely one of them. You should show some of your comics for them. Yeah, I should. But the thing is, they show basically grown up Narcy, and grown up Narcy is very different from. I mean, obviously, he's gonna be very different from young Narcy, but grown up Narcy, even in canon and alternate universe, even then, I don't want to get too in depth with it. Uh, just know that he kind of follows his mother, his mother's side, not because he's a mama's boy or anything, but it's because you're dealing with, in what I mentioned is that how the mothers, Rengoku, Hell, and Valhalla, they're they're succubi, so they hail from the cycle of lust, obviously. And what happens is that when you have a deity and a succubus, basically mate, you get like the godlings, you get these divine children. And the thing is, though, how I've always looked at it is that they're is that they're divine incubi, or for heaven's sake, uh she's a divine succubus. And I don't like the and I'm like I don't mind the stereotypes, like with incubi and succubi. I don't mind that, but you can definitely tell that Rengoku is a very, very different succubus from the prologue. Like, oh no, she don't look. Let me show you guys this. Like, she doesn't really have the eccentric features of like the curves and all of that. She's clothed. She's very clothed, and she's very. And I just wanted to nail in that abnormality about her, because we see it in Purgatory and Insanity, which there'll be a focus in the second chapter when I get to it. But I want them to reflect not only just their children, but the children to reflect them as well, in a way. And and it was I was kind of thinking of that, but at the same time, not really. So it just kind of just clicked in place like that. So, I'm really glad I'm actually going over this book with you guys and talking about it. And hopefully more people tune in, for the replay and stuff. And I hope the images are showing up pretty clear because I use a PDF for this. I thought about using the actual presentation button on this stream, but it just brought up too many things. I'd say it would be a lot easier for me just to bring up the slides like this in PDF format. And yeah. Neff says Narcy insanity equals goats so far. Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're kids. Sanity's always going to be top tier. They're all top tier. But there's something about just the interaction between insanity and narcissism at times. It's just just like, come on, dude. Flaming Claw says, could censor anything explicit if you're worried for YouTube terms or whatever you get later on the line to reveal more. Show the comics, especially. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm already like 3 steps ahead on that. But the thing is, I just you guys know me. I'm gonna show the uncensored somehow, and the censored is basically it's gonna be in the books. It's always gonna be in the books. Of course, I'm gonna show it probably in a video too, like for on X or something like that. But it's not even. And here's the thing: I like nudity with my artwork, yeah, and I rarely do like pornographic artwork. Rarely do I do that. And some prude out there on the internet would be like, "Oh, well, it's the same thing. They're showing this." I'm like, no, they're not. They're actually no. This is literally a study. This is how I always broke it down. It's literally a study of how they look like without the clothes and what their actual build is supposed to represent. And even then, and I don't want to say too much about this because this might be a spoiler. I know what, whatever. With Rengoku, when she's not clothed or anything, she has this marking on her back, and the marking on her back is very symbolic to what she's I wouldn't say what she stands for, but uh what her existence represents in a way. And that's because of a certain let's just say item or object. So I like those little details. I like little details like that, and not everything has to be like sexualized or whatever. But I'm come on, guys. I'm literally a dude who's an author, and I can write whatever the hell I want. I'm not gonna make excuses for it. If I want to show nudity, I'll show nudity with my characters. But all I'm saying is that I try to keep it balanced. I don't want to teeter to that, and I'm very odd about this. And I know it might sound like a hypocrite, but it's like I don't. There's a reason why I don't like to go on the pornographic route a lot, because I think it distracts me. It distracts my potential of like actually doing the storytelling. And I love and I love the discussions between characters because it reveals a lot. And I learned that lesson really from Game of Thrones in a way. Like I knew it was always important, and this is before I watched the first 2 seasons of Game of Thrones. But I always knew that it was important. But when I watched Game of Thrones, I was like, okay, yeah, I see why. I see why the dialogue is so good and the pacing's good, because it keeps you. It doesn't keep you. It keeps you on your toes, but not in a dreadful way, but more of like, okay, I gotta pay attention to this. This might come up later. It might be some foreshadowing, or this might actually be misleading. And this is what happened. This is great. It's great storytelling. Say whatever you think about what Game of Thrones is, but that's where I kind of, when I was making this book, that's where I kind of got the inspiration from when it comes to the dialogues with these characters and stuff. And you will see more of that within the later chapters. Flaming Claw says, though we'll say maybe next time you do this could help to get someone to read parts with you and subtitles to keep. No, I think not. I mean, no to the someone helping me to read. No, it has to be me. It has to be me because um, people are very squeamish about this stuff. What I'm going to be reading and stuff, and I got nothing. There's no. I have nothing against them about that. Thing is, this is me. This is all me right here. As for the subtitles, I was thinking about actually just sharing a view of the maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do that. Maybe that'd be easier. Hold on, let me do this for you guys. Perhaps it would be a lot easier. Maybe for you guys can read along. Move that. All right. So we're gonna present this. Ugh. Okay. All right. Do you guys see it? All right. There we go. All right. With that, let's get to it. Hang on. I want to see something. Nah. Okay. All right. Let's do this. Chapter 2, Abnormality. A day after the twin guiders left the sanctuary, Sandy goes to his father, only to find that the patriarch is tending to the vegetation outside. Pappy, what's this? Sandy points to the freshly growing fruits, vegetables, and flowers. Hello again, son. And I'm checking the food, making sure the soon-to-be ingredients will be edible. We'll even make spices out of these. Spices, Sandy repeats while looking at different flowers. His father creates a small cloud, which lightly rains on the vegetation. Sandy watches with deep interest, sparking inspiration in the sun as he reaches forward to touch the cloud, causing it to thunder and lightning. The fourth son chuckles as the patriarch watches his son's shenanigans, not surprised by this, and rubs his forehead to give him acknowledgement. Don't start a fire now. The father vanishes the thundering cloud with a simple movement of his hand. The entropic son rubs his hands together. Fire ignites from the friction, surprising himself, and as quickly as it started, Purgatory steps in to extinguish it by squeezing his twin brother's hands. Smiling sheepishly, Insanity chuckles nervously before saying, "Sorry, I had no control over that." I saw. Ragnarøkkr responds with slight annoyance. Purgatory gives his twin a stern look, watching as Insanity puts a hand behind his head in a nervous gesture while smiling guiltily. I said I'm sorry. Don't be so mean now, Aniki. Which means big brother. The entropic godling chuckles to lighten the mood. Lessening the judgmental gaze, Purgatory looks up at their father with a questioning expression. His black hair is always short, close to the scalp, for no one could ever grab it to their advantage. He learned once from how dirty narcissism can be with his cruel actions, but in return, the selfish brother learned just how reactionary his moral brother can be if pushed too far. Based on Purgatory's body language, Ragnarøkkr figures that Purgatory is curious about what they were doing before the flammable incident happened. Maintaining the soon-to-be food, my son. The moral godling examines the vegetation, then walks to a nearby tree to lean on. His brown eyes study the plants, slowly tracing the height and width of them. As you see, pictures of that. That's Purgatory, by the way. Teach me these, Otosan, which means father. Purgatory says, the sons of Rengoku know some of their mother's native language due to the help of Enabler, who's fluent with much of the world's customs. She's a great help when it comes to learning about the world in such details, as the twin guide-eaters are informational about the hunt. In Ragnarøkkr's mind, he doesn't doubt that she's possibly older than the first guide-eater. He nods and says, all right, my son. He looks over at the entropic godling and asks, will you participate? Insanity enthusiastically nods, long white hair becoming a wavy mess. Inadvertently, this causes the white hair to become black, forcing him to stop. My hair! He shouts in surprise. The father doesn't know what to say at this point, as well as the twin brother. Insanity then ruffles the now black hair before it returns to white. Fixed it. I see that, my son. The patriarch isn't sure how to handle this one sometimes. He tries his best to be a good father, That's all he can do for his children. Turning his attention to the flowers, he recalls when a good friend taught him about the wild vegetation that grows in the area and how to utilize them as food. Putting the short and sweet reminiscence aside, the father speaks. Let's see. The flowers with the purple and white petals, that one is called the Jayapeta. It grows in moist conditions and can be maintained in other environments if the individual knows what they are doing. It gets its name from the petals being used as complements for various types of meats, or as a way to help keep yeast rich. Of course, the petals would have to be dried up. Baking them with yeast or meats would give the food a tangy yet benefiting, befitting flavor. The sons listen intently. Purgatory comprehends, while his twin brother's eyes dimly glow, changing colors. Ragnarøkkr continues the short lesson about the spices. Soon Sanity raises left hand. Pappy, is it possible that I can change the nature of the flowers to fit what we need for different foods? Like skipping the time skipping the time of waiting for a flower to grow? Hearing that from the godling certainly has Ragnarøkkr thinking upon that. Placing a claw upon his hardened chin, the eye sockets go dark. With further contemplation, it worries the patriarch since Insanity's power has unknown lengths and degrees to it. I'm not sure if I want to find that out. You're not in the position to control yourself as of yet, but I will help guide you as best as I can. We'll both learn along the way. The Lao returns to the patriarch's sockets. Clasping his small tan hands together, the godling of entropy grins with eagerness. Soon we will begin. His brown eyes go completely black, no trace of white. The father hopes he doesn't come to regret that later on. Then Purgatory snaps his fingers to get his brother's attention. Sanity's eyes go back to normal. Sorry, Aniki. I won't go too crazy. I promise. Sanity shifts focus onto the flowers, sitting on his knees to look down at them. Later in the day, as the sun descends into the horizon, the patriarch and his second pair of sons are in the kitchen. Insanity is sitting on air, as if there is a chair under him, and is reading from the upside down cookbook. Purgatory helps his father by prepping the yeast and drying out the flowers, while Ragnarøkkr tends to the fresh kills without making a mess. The use of magic greatly helps with everything when responsible hands wield it. Pappy, why do we eat? Aren't we able to survive without food since we are not mortal? We're not immortal. We have needs just like any other creature within this world, and we all need a source to keep ourselves functioning. Some don't need food, some do, and others need specific measures to maintain their body. It just so happens that you, your siblings, and I can switch between methods of obtaining energy. I choose this method because I want you all to gain understanding about mortal life. But what if you're wrong? Sandy looks up from the book in his hands, brownish red eyes on his father. I will quickly correct it. As far as I have seen, I am not wrong. My children are growing and are healthy. Then Tropic Sun smiles, going back to reading the upside-down letters and numbers within the cookbook. The moralistic sun finishes with the yeast and dehydration of the flowers, crushing the various petals and roots into the several bowls, focusing on one at a time. Once done with the first stage of preparing the meat, the patriarch looks on over at Purgatory, then over at Sandy before saying, "Read it the proper way and tell me what else it calls for." Aye, aye, let's see. Turning the book upright, then Tropic Sun notices that the words and measurements are still upside down. Annoyed, he closes the book and opens it to the correct page with everything back to normal. Side note. Missile roots are part of the missile flower that grow in rainy areas that consists of fog, and redew petals are abundant within areas that have the perfect temperature for dew to be present for the majority of the season. All right. And continuing on with this, a bowl of missile roots, half a bowl of redew petals, and a handful of gyrapeta. After that, cook the meat for half an hour. Then Tropic Godling informs. Insanity continues to read the page, even additional notes left by the previous owner of the book. For a desired flavor, Let it simmer in the pot all night to marinate with spices. Take it out first thing in the morning and feast well. This gets the godling to think about cooking this dish next time, using the other options since he does love to experiment with anything that interests him. Purgatory goes over to the meat, applying the right measurements of spices onto the food after hearing his brother read aloud the next steps. Once done, Insanity goes over to the food, the book following behind them as the entropic godling does a hand gesture, the food automatically cooked. The moral brother looks at his twin, unsure what to say, and looks over at their dad. Ragnarøkkr places his hands on his son's heads to praise him, disregarding what happened. Purgatory Insanity. He looks at both sons with pride. You two did a good job with dinner. Now it is time to eat. I'm full, Pappy. I want to sleep now. You're still joining us at the table until it's time to rest. Immediately, he had to think on what to say there. The entropic son nods. Yes, Pappy. Insanity patiently waits, watching his siblings eat while sitting next to Purgatory, hands folded on the table, thinking about his brothers and sister. He comes to the conclusion that this is a necessary way to bond with family. Hell and destruction are absolute amongst their siblings, and although they may not be sociable, they're harshly righteous when around since they like to keep things even. He has come to respect his older brothers for practicing what their father preaches, more so than their younger siblings do. Heaven and narcissism are compatible halves, the angelic optimistic and the self-centered star. Not much needs to be thought about with those two seeing that they're polar opposites of each other, more so than him and his twin, which he guesses that they're the unpredictable order and controlled chaos. Thinking some more, he looks over at their father, the patriarch. The godling wonders about the mothers, knowing as much as Purgatory, yet maybe a bit more than him. It's this feeling he had for a few lunar cycles now, that his mind is becoming sharper with knowledge that he yet doesn't fully understand. Something tells him that Pappy secretly knows. Insanity, Purgatory whispers. Yes, Aniki? Want to play a board game after dinner? Yes. The entropic godling bears a grin as the moral godling, too, has a similar expression, eager to test each other with their strategic game they designed for just themselves. What are they grinning about? Narcissus asks his twin sister. I don't know. Whatever it is, they seem happy. Heaven responds after consuming another portion of the spiced meat. If Purgatory starts becoming like a Sanity, I will be worried. You be worried about Purgatory? She looks over at her twin brother, the selfish godling blushing upon realizing what he said, then resumes dinner. Heaven finds this cute before she goes back to eating. Hell and destruction pay their family no mind as they focus on feasting. Ragnarøkkr quietly eats, savoring this calm moment. Ending his turn, Insanity glances at the opposition. 2 pieces on the checkboard, a yellow shield and a yellow guard. Surrender, Anarchy! I won this match. I will never surrender. Then you will lose everything. Insanity moves his green guard up against the yellow on a blue tile of the board. Purgatory moves his shield to be near the yellow guard and on a red tile. You can't do what you want. My guard will not take damage as long as the shield is near him. I'm aware of that, though as you can see, the entropic brother slides a green horse idly towards the guard, concern now present on the moral brother's face. There's only so much a shield can protect before becoming useless, Insanity adds with smugness. Taking both the shield and guard away, Insanity smirks, beginning to set up the board for another round. Frustrated, Purgatory vows to himself that he will win the next one and wipe that smirk off his twin's face. Don't get reckless with this round, the brothers say in sync. They begin their next game. Finishing their game, it's evident that Insanity wins again, and as Purgatory puts the board and pieces away, his brother pats him on the back. You made better choices that time around. Gave me a bit of a struggle. You were following a similar pattern with some new moves. That may be true, Anki, but I still won with new tricks up my sleeve. Next time I'll be ready. Sure. They head to the bedroom that they share with their siblings. the first pair of twins in their bed, lying on the same side as Heaven is in the bed that her and Narcissus share. Hello, brothers, Heaven greets. Hi. Hello. The second pair of twins return formalities, getting into the bed that they share. Purgatory lies under the covers while Sanity lays on top of them, the two laying on the opposite ends. Where's Narcy? Asked the entropic brother. I don't know. I hope he's not causing trouble for father, responds the sister. Purgatory makes a sound. It was full of scoff towards the mention of their selfish brother. They all know that he and Narcissism don't get along for obvious reasons, but it seems that Narcissism and Purgatory have built up a sibling rivalry because of the youngest brother's lack of care for others. Or so it seems. Don't be like that, Purgatory. He is trouble at times. He does have a good trait to him, even if he likes to think that he's perfect. We all are not perfect, and neither is he. Remember what Father says: practice tolerance of others and to be better. Purgatory acknowledges what Heaven said, closing his eyes. Soon after the arrival of Narcissism, both Insanity and Heaven look toward him as Hell and Destruction are trying to sleep. Come rest, brother. It has been a full day, has it not? It would be better if I did not have to deal with most of you, the selfish godling remarks, walking over to the bed that he and his sister share. The godling with black hair gets out of bed to confront his youngest brother, forcing him to turn around with a strong grip. Narcissism. If you have a problem with us, then how about you take it up with me? A coward you are for being upset about little things. Do you have a problem? If so, I challenge you to fight me. Get out of my way before I push you down like last time. Guess you're going to have to deal with me again. Purgatory can only take so much from Narcissism, and tonight he's standing up to his youngest brother, bent on setting him straight one way or another. Narcissism is about ready to give his third oldest brother the consequence of being foolish, as Heaven is startled by the turn of events, not sure if she could even do anything to stop this. Insanity was going to do something until Hell intervenes, grabbing both feuding brothers by the neck and staring them down with tired eyes. Shut up, his firm voice commands before he lets them go. Heading back to bed, this gets the two to quiet down and ignore each other. Outside of the sanctuary, Ragnarøkkr talks with a figure dressed in black and on a pale skeletal horse. We'll talk more within the future. Be vigilant about what could happen. It may be lethal. When the time comes, I will answer. We'll meet again, Death. Horseman Death gives the patriarch a nod, leading his steed back to where they came, disappearing under the forest ground. Letting out a sigh, Ragnarøkkr proceeds to head into the home to check on his children. Whew. All right, that was a good read. That was good. That was an hour too, just a little bit over an hour. It's okay, man. Hey, how you doing? All right, that was quite a bit to read. I'm just glad that I didn't really stutter as much, and I'm just I'm kind of a little bit annoyed that I pulled up like basically an old draft and not the final draft. But either way, it's gonna get the job done. I can't wait. I'm glad that I did this. To be honest, the idea just came to me to read this book. Sorry. To read this book like a few days ago, and I was just like, let me try this. So that was section. That's prologue. The prologue, chapter 1 and 2, and this is the first section. So what do you think of your book now compared to when you published it? Oh my gosh, dude! There's so many errors. There's so many errors of just like, and I'm not saying the beta readers haven't caught that or anything. It's just what I mean by errors is that I have ways like shortening it, and there's like I notice that there's this repetitiveness to it. It's just a me thing, but Oh my gosh, dude. Just reading it now. Reading that draft, I mean. Oh my gosh. Whew. That is a monster. But that's okay. That's okay. Story is all about the story. It's all about the characters, honestly. And um, I kind of wrote some stuff down too. Where is it at? Oh, right here. I wrote some stuff down earlier today, and I like to do my little research on this topic of things, especially when it comes to like writing fiction and being in the indie sphere and stuff. And this thing called the fundamentals of fiction. Uh, Number one is they write to genre, so that means the indie creators, indie authors, specifically indie writers. We choose a specific genre that interests us the most, but also there are some ones that have researched the market as well, like what the readers are reading or what's mainly popping, and they'll do research about that and write a book based around that genre and subgenre. Number two is they write character driven stories, which this book is heavily, heavily character driven. Uh, Dealing with the children of Ragnarøkkr. You got the divine family, the patriarch, Ragnarøkkr being the patriarch, hell, destruction, purgatory, insanity, uh, heaven, and narcissism. I mean, that's the family right there. And you got all these brothers and you got one sister, really. So that's pretty cool. And then number three is they write series, which this is a series, by the way. This is the first book, and God willing, I will be able to basically narrate the second book. Well, it's a prequel. Let's just say that it's a prequel spinoff. But there's a reason why I went that route. What was the inspiration for this? I'm going back 10 plus years ago, because that's when the first iteration came out. The original version of it came out was it wasn't a book yet. It wasn't a book. It didn't start becoming a book until 2020 when COVID hit, and it was me and a friend and a couple other guys. And at first when I made it, it wasn't really like based on like the characters that we have now, but it would serve a purpose where with that first generation, I saw potential there, and turned it into I turned into something else where it was starting to get familiar. Ragnarøkkr started becoming a thing in the second iteration of it, or should I say the second generation, and along with uh, hell and destruction, insanity, purgatory, and heaven, and narcissism. They were in the first iteration, but they were very, very different. Very different. But I'm sorry. As of what my inspiration for them was it was basically Final Fantasy VI to be exact. Listen to Dancing Mad, and that's the final boss song. That's the song of the final boss called Dancing Mad, and there's like these different movements. And I really liked it so much that I was like, man, I can hear I can visualize characters. When I listen to music, and I'm pretty sure I know I'm not the only one, but when I listen to music, I I just visualize what characters look like, or what they sound like, or what their mannerisms are, and they can evolve over time. That's natural process. But yeah, just listen. I mean, I started listening. I mean, all these years later, listening like to Dancing Mad, and just the more I listen to it, and I'm hearing people make covers of that song, I get like it's kind of like an evolution of itself too, in a way, when the fans make covers of that song, and just how different it is compared to the original, and you're like, man, this is reflective almost, and it kind of like reveals a little bit more about the characters to me. in a way too, because just again different different I wouldn't say musicians, but creatives, well, people who are gifted in the music, musically or musically gifted or inclined, they they have these takes that are so different that what you thought or would think, and they blow you away with it. And it's just like, man, I mean, that's inspiration right there, honestly. And it's not just Final Fantasy six. Final Fantasy six was the main driving factor of it, but I mean, Final Fantasy 15 to a degree as when that came out, when that was all the rage back then. I love Final Fantasy six, Final Fantasy 15. I mean, there's a little bit of Final Fantasy 7 as well. I'm not really a fan of Final Fantasy 7, even though I played a good portion of it, like to the second disc. I mean, but yeah, even I have a little bit of that. I mean, it's just the songs, Nobuo Uematsu, and Yoko Shimomura. I can't pronounce her name. They're very great, very gifted musicians, and they're legends, in my opinion. They're legends with what they can do. I mean, they both worked at Square. They both composed great pieces of music for legendary games. Yoko Shimura with Parasite Eve, and of course Nobuo Uematsu for Final Fantasy. So it's stuff like that, and it kind of like crossed over with Yoko Shimura working on Final Fantasy 15. And I thought I loved her music back in Parasite Eve, but I loved her music even more with Final Fantasy 15. I still listen to it to this day, 10 years later, and I can't believe Final Fantasy 15 is gonna turn 10 years, 10 years old this November. It's like reminds me of the Arden quote. 10 years and nothing. What do you say? 10 years and so, oh, gosh, I'm already messing it up. But it's become like a little inside joke between me and a friend. uh, but it's crazy to think that it's very relevant now. It's going to be very relevant. 10 years. Oh yeah, 10 years is nothing to show for it. uh, oh my gosh. I've also, I mean, I've also read other books. I mean, read books too. So Um, can't really say what inspired me on that front with the book side, other than I guess the Final Fantasy books I have, which Final Fantasy six book, and then the Final Fantasy 15 Dawn of the Future, and then the Final Fantasy Ultimania Archives. I just wanted that. I wanted that. I wouldn't say darker aspect, like be edgelord or anything. It's just that I've always I've always written dark fantasy before I even realized what dark fantasy was, and that's what I just excel at. I mean, of course, I have like romance in there too. I've written romance, but I don't focus on romance. It's a romance within a dark fantasy setting, which I don't do the whole overly grim dark. Right? I like to have a little light in there. I do, but man, I don't shy away from like getting like going through some crazy stuff. Uh, I was hoping to read more of this before I joined, but busy schedule has made it rather difficult for me to sit down and read. Oh, you don't have to read it, man. You could just listen. You can just play back the audio. So I could contribute more to the conversation. That's fine. That's okay. It's all right. I understand. I'm just glad that you showed up. I'm glad that people are actually showing up for this. I mean, I'm not talking about anything really popular, with pop media, pop culture, I should say. I'm basically trying to stay away from that stuff because I don't really see it serving me and like helping me, to be honest. And I'm not like saying like it's unimportant. It's just that this is what brings me great joy. I have utter belief in my projects, in my books, and you know character driven stories that's always going to be, honestly, that's always going to be number one to me, is character driven stories. I might get a little experimental at times. There's nothing wrong with that, but with a series, I do plan to see success with it, with this with Gods and Goddesses. I just it's just so cool how, like, how what I have planned, and how it evolves, honestly. And I have a little hang on, maybe I can show you this, maybe I can show you a little bit of this. uh Maybe I can show you guys a little bit of this. Actually, you know what, let me not do that. Let me not do that, because this stream is basically just for Gods and Goddesses, and I don't want to just get everywhere. That might be for a stream tomorrow if I decide to do that. If not, then eventually I'll get to it. So, do you have a definition of success? Like, is personal satisfaction for you, or do you hope for recognition? I can care less about the fame. I can care less about the fame, but I prefer the word of mouth as well, because word of mouth is that, it's just how things become. I don't want to say popular, but things are just known. I wouldn't, and I gotta think I'm on this more. I don't really care about the fame. I don't want to be famous. If anything, I think that would just add stress to my life a little bit. It's more of a look. I want you guys to recognize my works, and just know that, I make these books, I make these series because I'm interested, and I know you guys are going to be interested in it. And maybe, some people may like Gods and Goddesses, while other people might like my comic dubs. Either way, I'm not putting my face out there because I want my characters to resonate with you guys more. Yeah, I could put my name on there, and or whatever, my internet name or whatever. Yeah, cool. But when it comes to, like, branding, marketing, you know, people all around the world know Superman. People all around the world know Spider-Man. Global character. And I'm not saying it'd be pretty cool my characters be global like that, but I'm fine with being in a comfortable position where I know I'll have a very reliable source of fans who will contribute to what I put out. That's what I want. I think that's the great definition of success for me, is that the have that reader retention. That'd be very cool. Do you have a preference between your comics with the Nun versus your book with Ragnarøkkr? Do I have a preference, or are they separate, really, and not really comparable like that? What, I'm gonna try to answer this one. I don't really have a preference, because I work on them both at the same time usually. Now I will balance it out. We're like, okay, look, I'll work on this until it's done, and then once that's done, I'll work on this or this one over here. I try my best to balance it out. Uh, just because it's good to, it's just good to just wind down from, like, the main series. And I'm not saying, like, Zen's Cathedral is not a main series. It is a main series, but they're not connected. That's what I do want to say, that they're not connected. I don't do that multiverse bullcrap. I don't like multiverses. I think they're just very cheap and very drawn out and played out way too much nowadays. And I think we need a return form with, hey, let's just have a single verse here. Let's not be having all this other stuff. Now, I'm fine with sorry, I'm I'm fine with doing little Easter eggs, but that's what it is. It's just little Easter eggs. They're not nothing. They're not anything. Just like, oh yeah, they're connected now. Nah, it's just a little nod. uh, but I will say though, what they have in common is that they're both dark fantasy. Honestly, Zen's Cathedral is part of a bigger. It's part of a bigger world. Again, it's not multiverse. Not that it's actually part of a bigger storyline. It's just that if the reason why I'm focusing on Zen is because people love the cat girl. People love the nun cat girl. They do. That's undeniable. So why would I, and gotta think like this? Why would I not focus on her, or at least not give her some attention, and just continue to do what try to do what people don't want? And I'm not saying people don't want gods and goddesses, but I've seen a lot of reception when it comes towards Zensakia. And honestly, that was a really nice thing to see happen. But with gods and goddesses, it's just, look, it's a series. As I said, I have an obligation to finish this series, to write the series and to finish it. And if I don't finish it, at least, and I don't mean like, oh, the main series or the main timeline of events is going to be not be done. No, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep on writing books for gods and goddesses because there's I like spin-offs. I do. I like spin-offs, but that depends on what the people want though with those spin-offs though. I can't just, or or at least it makes sense. And it's very reasonable. Like, for example, I'm sorry, I'm thinking. Like, for example, I'm doing that prequel spin-off. There's a reason why I'm doing that. It focuses on a specific character that's very important in the first book. Very important. And I just, like, look, people, I definitely know people are going to be wanting to know what his origins are. Zen is certainly more recognizable and appealing in a broader sense. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And when it comes to the two different medias, you got one that's in the book, I'm sorry, in the format of a novel, and then you got one in the format of a comic dub. I mean, obviously, people are going to go more towards the comic dub because it's visual and reading in its um, things are being, there's I'm sorry, there's actors and actresses. Then people just going over to the book, and there it's just, again, it's a niche. That's where it boils down to. It's a niche. I I would definitely continue working on it for foreseeable future. The thing is, though, I can't just I can't just go crazy with it and just go out of my way with certain things, because I never understood that. I never understood why people just it's, again, it's nice it's cool to experiment, but within reason, within boundaries. And I just don't understand where some creatives get into that. I think that's where they get themselves in trouble, is that when they think a little too outside the box, and they're just like in no man's land. They're like, oh man, now I gotta deal with this, and it costs. It definitely costs viewership or readers, whatever. And I have this written down too right here. Um, where's it at? Three reasons why readers drop off, and it's not just readers; it's just fans. I'll just put three reasons: the quality of the series descends, as in, and what we've seen, and this would be a good example from Brandon Sanderson. I never read his books. I don't think and I'm not saying like he's not a good author or anything. The man definitely has worked on his craft a lot. But the thing is, I when I was doing my research on, and I like to do my different researches on authors, and Brandon Sanderson just always kept popping up, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. I looked into his lectures, and I think I watched like 4 or 5 of them actually, and they were pretty good. They were pretty good. I haven't watched all of them, but they were pretty good lectures. I'm like, man, this is some good stuff. And I'm trying to write it down, or I type it down. I type it. I gotta write it down too. And when I went over to the site of the fans, what the fans thought of his the latest book, I forgot what it is. People were very mixed. People were very divided because the thing that they thought what was being built up from the previous entries, it's not really going well. That's what's happening, and it's created a division. Some people like it, some people don't, and I don't want that. I don't really, and I know I can't appease everyone. I understand that, but even when when these fans are talking about it and they have valid criticism, I listen to both sides. They're, one thing they do agree on in a way is like it just seems like he's trying to change things up when it shouldn't be changed, when things shouldn't be changed up. And that's a very successful, and that's from a very successful author. So that's I mean, the quality of the series descends. If the quality of the series descends, that's when readers just start dropping off, or you have that division. Another one is a favorite character killed off, or worse, a love interest. And I mean, we've seen that time and time again. We've seen that even not even just books, but in movies and TV. I mean, dang, I can't bring it up right now because it ain't coming to me. But you guys, there's probably that one character you thought of, like, is right now, can think of right now, where they've been killed off, and then the rest of the movie is just, or a show or whatever, is just bland, and you're just like, and there's no investment to it anymore, because the one thing that really was keeping that story going was this character, or these two characters, and they're both dead. It's like it's like killing off both Romeo and Juliet early in the story, and then you're continuing on with their relatives. you know, it's like that. And then the last reason for as to why readers drop off is that the series goes too long and starts to lose readers. And I don't want, and I don't want I don't want it to be a long series. Gods and Goddesses, I mean, I don't want Gods and Goddesses to be a long series. I'm thinking at least 4 or 5 main books, and then I don't know how many spin-offs I want. And even then, I don't want to do too many spin-offs because I don't want to contradict myself. There'd be a lot of lore and information in it. And I'm a lore guy, but I'm not like heavy into lore like that. I like a story when it connects and it's not trying to act smart or be pseudo intellectual. I just want a good story, or at least a story that actually does try. That's what I want. And so, um, you know, maybe I think all good stories are not perfect, which I believe that's a reasonable take. Uh, Is it costly employing the artists in VA for your comic and dubs? It depends. Honestly, it depends on um, just the relationship with these people. And I don't mean uh oh, we're best friends, so you gotta give me a discount. you know, I actually I'll use Neff for example. Neff is a very good friend of mine. I view that man as my brother, and Neff area. Well, he likes to call himself Neff Arias, but I like Neff. I like Nefarious Watcher better. But anyway, Neff. There's been times where Neff has given me a discount on things, and I've been very thankful for it. And there's other times where he has offered, and I still have. Let's just say I put money toward. Like, well, a bit more money towards it, just because I love and respect the man. My one of my voice actresses, she I heard something. I'm sorry. I just heard something. I'm like, what the heck was that? But anyway, she was gonna do this one thing for me for free, and I'm like, no, let me just here. I'll give you $20 for this, and that was reasonable because of what how many words were in that the overall dialogue. So I mean, it just depends. I don't like really to take. I wouldn't say like take too much advantage of that, but I like to at least keep it reasonable. It's just it's like a unwritten code of honor, I guess. But I'm very thankful. I always make sure that like to let them know, like, hey, I'm very thankful that you guys are, you're doing this for me, and um, let and I they're both heavily involved in my works, and I just don't do it like I'm sorry, I just don't like try to like take control, like micromanage or anything like that. No, I don't want that. Um, I don't want yes men. I don't want people to kiss my ass. Oh. I'm not trying to be vulgar or anything, but no, I don't want that. I want people to actually share the vision with me, actually believe in the vision, and I know they do. I know they believe in the vision. If they didn't, I mean, they wouldn't really want to be working with me anymore. It's just how things are, man. It just depends. It just depends on the circumstances, honestly. Uh, Speaking of criticisms, how many reviews has your book? Honestly, I haven't seen any reviews of my book. I haven't. I'm not saying like, oh, it's good or anything. No, I believe there's no written reviews of it. Uh, it would be very nice. It would be very nice to see those reviews. I wouldn't mind. I really wouldn't mind some one like a 1 star or something like that, like, oh, this no, I want actual good criticism though. I don't want like just the 1 star and just say, oh, it sucks. I'm like, okay, what sucks? Was it this scene? Was it this part of the chapter? What was it? Can't be bland here. And even then, I wouldn't. One of my beta readers, I won't one of my beta readers, he there's a reason why I chose him. No, I'm sorry. Let me not say that. There's a reason why he chose me. There's a reason why he chose me and accepted my stuff, because he sees potential in me, and that he kicks my ass. He kicks my ass verbally. And I'm saying, he gets mean. He gets mean. He told me flat out with the first prequel spinoff is that that he hated this character because of how I read him, and that blah blah blah. That was so effective on me that I rewrote the whole damn book. I rewrote the whole book and then some more, a little bit. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. This is terrible. uh, I hear you. Time is money, as they say. Recognizing someone's time as they choose to help you pursue something like that, it's admirable to reward their charity, even when they offer it freely. Yeah, yeah. I don't want that to be like a expectation. Um, I just it's just, hey, look, this is a respect thing, and honestly, me and Neff do that with each other. Like we give, I don't have to like pay me or anything like that. I want that to be clear. But there are times where I would make stories and I'm like, hey man, look, I was thinking about you, bro. Thinking about you. Take a gander, just read it. I think you're pretty. I think you like it pretty well. So it's just bonds, man. Bonds are very important in this, especially with having your own little group. And I know I like business and all that, but I wouldn't say time is money. Time is just it's priceless. Time is priceless, man. Because when you're spending it with one person, you're talking to and you talk to a lot of people and stuff. It's just like you gotta use up so much energy, and you never know when that could turn to a full blown conversation, or it would just be a short conversation. Things are done. It's just I've worked. I mean, I've worked with different people, and I'm not some big wig or anything. I go on Fiverr or Twitter, YouTube even, and or Patreon, and just look through some people that I thought I or think that are pretty good that can help serve my vision. And there's been losses, there's been some wins and some losses there. You know, but well, for my own mistakes, honestly, the losses were for my own mistakes. Me being an idiot, basically. I wasn't nasty to people or anything. It was more like, oh man, okay, I think I can, kind of force them to, be with me. And I don't mean like try to bribe or anything, but it just, I wasn't, I was just being a little too pushy because I was very gung ho about my stuff. And it's like, man, you can't do that. You can't do that to people. They got their own things too. So I've leaned off that and learned, and it's just some people, some people, mm, some people just have boundaries. When again, my stuff, when it comes to my stuff, it makes some people squeamish. It does, but they are willing to work with me. So I just try to work with them as best as I can. Uh, See, well, I'm reading it so I can leave a review once. Hey, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, that's right. You did buy that. I think you did buy the digital thing. I'm sorry. I just my mind wasn't picking up what you were putting down until now. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Uh, and even then, and I had this thought too. Once had this thought, but check this out. I was writing down this stuff, and I'm trying to find it. Give me a second, y'all. Here's a critical mindset. I'm literally giving you guys some game right here about this stuff. For critical mindsets, here's number one, and this is probably the most important one right here. Tell a good story. Be good enough, and to tell a good story is to read widely. This will help out on figuring out what works and what doesn't. So again, you don't have to be perfect. There can be. I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien wasn't perfect. He still has some errors in his what he thought was his final draft, and they had to they had to revise those books with those anniversary type collections and stuff too. I mean, George R. R. Martin as well. I mean, with traditional publishers, they still have those mistakes in there. Again, the best type of books are the ones that do have mistakes in them. I'm not trying to aim to be perfect. I'm not trying to aim to be like them. I just want to tell a good story. So, uh, how do you deal with how slow your recognition may be taking? Like one in the ocean of independent novels and fan projects, do you feel discouraged? I don't feel discouraged at all. I don't feel discouraged at all. we are living in time where I will say this, that where literacy rates are dwindling, they're descending, and that's not good. But thing is, though, we do have audiobooks. We and some people may frown upon this, but people are using AI to narrate their books, and that's because some of these people are either one, they don't want to spend. I mean, they don't want to spend money. B, they they don't have the funding to even get someone to read all that, and even then, it's just like, look, fine, audiobooks. But there's a thing with audiobooks, they don't cover everything, in my opinion. As in, like, look, like for example, the side notes in my book, they probably won't cover all that. I mean, heck, even when I was reading, going over when I was going over the book I was researching and listening to it and reading at the same time, there were some things that the narrator didn't even go over. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me pause this and actually write this part down. So it's there's some hidden gems for those. Yeah, and I want to tend to reward people more who like they read. And also with the audiobook, you can't see the pictures, you can't see the artwork, you can't see the illustration. It's not gonna, so that's another thing about like getting the book. That's why um with these books I try to give you guys a reason why to buy it, other than just, oh, it has words, there's just words. No, I want you guys to see like the artwork in there, the people I've worked with, and the effort that's been put into it. I really been hoping to get back into reading. Used to be an avid reader as a kid, but years of videos and focus issues has, as I said, made it difficult to sit down. Yeah, technology would do that to you, man. Technology's kind of got me like that too a little bit. But I mean, I'm just glad that I'm not too bad. And I'm not saying you're like, oh, you're horrible. You got to focus more, man. No, I'm not saying that. I'm gonna pull this from like a personal experience of mine. I remember in college, and I feel bad for the woman. I hope she's got a lot better. But I remember in college, uh, maybe my first, second year, maybe second year probably. Uh, she was hooked on her phone. She was hooked on her phone, and she didn't really know how to socialize. She was a beautiful woman, but she didn't know how to socialize, and I could tell like she was a little nervous. I wouldn't say like she had anxiety or anything. It was just she wanted to articulate herself, but she didn't know really how to. And I remember her. It kind of concerns me a little bit, because I remember when I talked to her this one time, and she just, the didn't, like, the little notification thing came up, and she just instantly went for her phone, and she realized what she did, and she was like, oh, I'm sorry, like I didn't, like, she was kind of a little bit freaking out a little bit, like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was that bad, or I wasn't offended, but yeah, man, it's crazy how tech does that to people, and especially with how with AI now, with doing the research and having people do research. Look, I'm fine with using it as a tool. I'm fine with people using it, but I like to I like to write my stuff down in this little notebook. There's a reason why I bought notebooks, for I can write stuff down, and I don't want to just type it down and have it be on a cloud. I actually wanted it physically in here, for I can actually look through it, open it, look through it, and read it, and not don't have to depend on internet connection just for it to oh, what was this? Oh no, dude. All right, so I think just sitting down and reading is a lot more immersive than audiobooks. I use audiobooks more of a background. Yeah, I can see that. I I know when I got into The Witcher, like at reading it, I mean, I started off with two audiobooks and I liked it so much. And this is a good thing about audiobooks, that if a person really likes the books, well, of listening to the book of the narrator, and they want to buy it, that's a great branching out. or a pathway, I mean, or segue to just getting more viewers and I mean viewers, readers, because that sure as hell worked on me. I was like, man, I love this. I love hearing this. I actually want to read it. So what I did was I bought the books, and no joke, I would read 50 pages a day almost on a daily basis, and I would listen. I would read and listen at the same time, just because um, I don't know, just to be more immersed into it. But the guy was reading too slow for me. He was a good narrator, but he was just reading too slow for me, and I just said, nah, I'm dropping it. I'm dropping it, but I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read this. AI skips so much stuff. It's like a jetty skipping over the. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is. Yeah, that's another thing. That's another thing. I will say that too. But that's the reason why I watch videos. I watch detailed videos, and and when I do the AI stuff, I have it bring up citations for me. Therefore, I can actually check out those citations and see and and read what's being said in the articles and stuff too. Again, I write this stuff down. I'm very curious how the upcoming generation will be given how early and consistently they've had access to social media and tech. I mean, I have a glimpse of that. I have a glimpse of that. I mean, I'm pretty sure you have a glimpse of that too. But I mean, like a glimpse of like in reality, not seeing videos. I mean, in the physical world, uh, it affects different children. I'll say that it affects children in a variety of ways. Some good, some bad. It depends on the parenting as well. It's always depending on the parenting or the mentoring, whichever. Yeah. Curious and not very hopeful. I don't know. I don't know. It's tough to say. Right now, I feel like they're ensnared too much by the bullcrap that's going on with social media and just entertainment and these dumbass celebrities. And honestly, I'm not trying to get too deep into it, but the parents are not putting them into a right spot and right position most of the time. I'm not saying they're abusive. I'm just saying that they're I mean, they're working a lot, but I mean, it's just not good. It's just not good having these kids be on these electronics all the time, like all day. And I know this for a fact because back when I was a kid, even though we didn't have social media and all that, the internet was like as it is now. I was so entranced by playing video games that I was addicted to it, man. And my dad just he saw how it was affecting me, and he stopped that real quick. He stopped it real quick and said, "Nope, you're only playing. I'm all you only get to play on weekends, and that's if you do all your homework and stuff." So they need a hard reset. I would say that that's a good way to hard reset those kids right there. But anyway, um, Flaming Claw says, I think that most people today don't know how to communicate. Everything is so tech based, and talking face value isn't as much of worth today. Digitally is king today, and yeah, it is. I you With all the stuff I write down, and I'm sorry, I don't want to try and sound like I'm trying to be like a intellectual or something. I literally have like a student's dictionary right here on my And I like to read through it at times because I I've noticed that I'm kind of stunted with talking, with speech and everything, and I can't. That's not acceptable. That's not acceptable when I'm trying to, improve my business. I I can't be doing doing all that stuttering. I can't. I need to work on this. I need to actually find a mentor who can help me just stop doing this. Stop saying the or just stuff like that, man. I'm tired of it. I actually want to improve my vocabulary and not rely on slangs. And I've been leaning off the slangs a lot. Not saying that hasn't like been a big part of my vocabulary, but everyone, from what I've seen, I wouldn't say everyone, but a majority of people from what I've seen is that they use so much slang. It's like, can we just use proper English? Can we go back to that? I don't interact with much people in person or on a personal level, so I can't quite say much on that. I prefer online, but I'm pretty expressive regardless on even on text. Yeah, but we know with all with text, we know that you get to think a lot more. There's more of a time to think. Oh, I'm sorry, jeez, you have more time to think uh, with how to respond than, of course, one on one, face to face. And that's why that's one of the things I want to work on. I'm not saying I'm bad at it. I don't have anxiety. I gotten better over the years, a lot better, but I can still improve on that. My nephew is my closest example, and while I don't see him much, I hear how he gets very upset when deprived of any of his. Yeah, man. There's a reason why. There's a reason why back in the day we called people iPad kids, even though we were kids we were kids ourselves. But it's true. We saw, even when we were kids, we saw how much the iPad was messing with people, and that's why we never use as a almost a derogatory term of saying, "Oh, you iPad kid." And it's kind of crazy how I was explaining it to like the actual kids of the kids that I work with, and I'm like, yeah, that we came up with that. Not you guys. We came up with that. We were calling each other iPad kids when we were kids. And we didn't even, and we saw when the iPad first came out. We didn't grow up with it, but we saw when it came out. You guys are the ones that basically were growing up with the iPads, not us. We were already in, like, the end of like we were already approaching middle school, or already in the middle part of sorry, or halfway through middle school. uh Blame Claw says it's not that it's wrong to chat online. It's still healthy, and I wouldn't blame anyone who does that chat online. But there are a few whose entire persona is only digital. And yeah, that's what you call. That's why you call them the serial. No, I'm sorry, not serial. I'm sorry. I was gonna say the terminally online. Thinking, I don't know why I'm thinking like the serial online. Terminally online. Yeah, that's scary. That's some scary stuff. I couldn't. And the most I could probably do with that, with like being online most of the time, is if, okay, yeah, this is actually a job of mine. But even then, I wouldn't want to be on the computer like that. I would end up hating just do just being. I would actually like to go outside, and I like to be inside most of the time. I do, but I couldn't. I don't know. I just couldn't. Maybe some people can do that, but I can't do that, man. But hey, we're all different, you know. Now, I was coddled a bit growing up, even given video games, pretty much any distraction I wanted as a kid. Growing up late 1990s with ADHD, I'm super susceptible to that. Really? Okay. Yeah, I say. I mean, I was basically coddled in a way too. Uh, I think it was. I believe my childhood was a bit balanced. I don't think I wasn't really my dad. My dad was a big factor in things. I can recognize my own dependencies and distractions and short term satisfaction. Hey, that's good. You're already a step ahead of most people because you're actually admitting it too, and I've admitted my stuff too. I mean, we're all. I mean, I'm glad. I'm glad. But I don't know how much of that is ADHD and being introduced so early. And that was like NES and N64. I didn't have a phone or social until around 17. Now I will say I had my first phone at 12, but it wasn't a smartphone. It was I still have my slider phone. I still have my slider. That's crazy how far technology has advanced. But anyway, yeah, it was I had minutes on it, and it was only used for to call people. Not like just like, oh, just really need to talk to people. Like, just, hey, I need to be picked up. Or, yeah, this is, hey, I'm calling you because blah 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 blah. Just like important matters. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not only that, but the social climate was so much different. Online and stuff was for nerds and hobby. Oh man, I miss those days. I miss those days. Not the outrageous social focus is now where everything is recorded and reviewed, or everything is part of like like some mainstream. Just what can I say? Damn. See, this is why I need to work on my vocabulary, where it's not just unified into this one system, where we actually had a diverse, like just diverse system. Sorry, we had actual branches of a diverse system, and we can find our own little pathways into these different groups. Now everything just got to be like all part of one thing, and it's like, no, we need to go back to we had to go back to like just decluttering this crap. And now, because now what we're seeing is that they're trying to force people to oh, we have to protect the children. I'm like, yeah, sure. You had all this opportunity to protect children, and yet you think you're gonna go after the internet. Well, yeah, come on, we're not stupid. We know what you're trying to do. You're trying to censor what's being shared online because it's actually making you look bad or something. We all know that. We're not, or at least a lot of us knows that. Like, it's not for protecting children. If it's for protecting the children, then you wouldn't be on a there wouldn't be a certain list and island and stuff like that. Just saying. Just ridiculous, dude. Oh, and let parents be parents, and let adults be adults. As in, let the parents uh be the ones to tell their kids what they can and cannot get on, and let adults actually choose what we can view and listen to. Because, oh, I don't know, we're adults, we can actually, if we're old enough to pay taxes and do whatever within within legality, uh why are we being treated as children? That's dumb. I've always hated that, and I will always go against it. And that's kind of another reason why I kind of write my books and these little projects too, because it's just to show that you're like, nah, I don't really go with what you're trying to do. Not trying to be rebellious, just wanting to show people like, look, this is what I do. And I know it's gonna make some people cry and whine about, oh, he's showing this or he's writing about that. But it's okay for people, authors like George R. R. Martin to be recognized, and yeah, they go into, and he goes into detail about some stuff that I wouldn't do. um, but I'm derailing from the book. Nah, it's okay, man. It's all right. Having a good vocabulary is important. Slang is off-putting and ages. Yeah, yes, it shows the age, and that actually does age books a lot. And or just not even books, but media. Flaming Claw says, I may be younger, but in the early 2000s, growing up with the PS2 and PSP were my distractions. But at the same time, I wasn't social because my father tried to turn me into him, so I resented a little to not. Yeah, I got that, man. Yeah, the time to think and edit my words via text is a huge reason I prefer it because in real life I talk faster than I can think and often stuttered or fail to properly convey my thoughts. Yeah, dude. I'm back temporarily. What did I miss? You missed a lot, dude. You missed a lot, Fox. You missed a lot. Now you owe me $10. No, I'm just kidding. I read through the prologue, the first chapter, and the second chapter. And next week, that's next Friday, perhaps Saturday, I will read chapters 3 and 4. I believe that chapters 3 and 4 aren't that long, but whenever we do get to a long chapter, it's only gonna be that one chapter. I know for a fact chapter 12 is long. Oh my gosh, chapter 12 is a long one, but for good reason. It's a good chapter. I won't let but my favorite chapter of all in that book, in the first book, specifically the second section of the book, is chapter 15, baby. I love chapter 15. Whew. Dude, I'm so pumped. I can't wait to get to chapter 15. I'm pretty sure when I get to I'm pretty sure when we get to the 15th chapter, you guys are gonna not hear me ever stop talking about chapter 15. I'm gonna talk about that. I'm gonna talk about that chapter so much. Like, oh my gosh, I love this. I love this chapter. I love this chapter. You guys are gonna love this too. Like, this is so cool. I was thinking about this and that when I was doing this. I miss Cups 2 era days of online. Still do. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of us do. But everything's gotta be watered down and lame and oh, you don't say this online. You can't do this. It was like, there's a reason why we have a mute button. Perhaps if you stop trying to baby people, actual adults, which is an M-rated game, but yet the kids are playing it, but yet, you guys are gonna try to enforce this, like, oh, we're gonna, no, shut up. No, that's why no one really want to talk to each other now on online, unless they're in their own little group and they're in their own little group because they know that if they say one thing, everyone's gonna be offended. I'm so tired of it, man. I'm so tired of people being so just so oh frustrated, dude. And I'm just how can you be this fragile? How? No, it's fake. It has to be fake. There's no way you're that fragile. And I'm not saying you guys. I'm talking about just those people. It's like, no way, dude. How did you get through school? How did you get through American education? Just there's no way. There's worse stuff that's being said by those kids. There is. There's no doubts about it. I've heard some really crazy stuff from kids. Really crazy stuff that I would never think of or ever heard until like when I started working with them. Holy cow. Uh, um, cool. Thanks. Online gaming back in the days. Yep. So good. This is why I still play those old games. Heck, right now, living my PS2 days playing Okami, but if you ask me to turn back time, it would be Black Ops 2 and Ghost today. I would say the entirety of the 2000s. I would say the entirety of the 2000s until 2012. Yep. From 2000 to 2012, 12 years. I would say, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm. Those were the good years. Heck, if you want me to be, I'll be a little generous, up to 2014, because in 2015, that's when things started becoming political, and I know a little bit of 2014 too. That's when things started getting political too with entertainment, but definitely 2015. And the most I can say with 2015, I know that some people like to point to 2016, in which I understand, but it was already spearheading. But to remember correctly, 2015, because that's when the Force Awakens came out. Star Wars, the Force Awakens, and that's when they were using that whole slogan of the Force is female. And I'm like, And I wasn't a Star Wars guy, but every time when I think back to 2015, I don't think of the movie. I think of the dumbass slogan that they were using, the Force is female. Like, what? The Force is everything. The Force is the Force. It's light and dark. What do you... What? Ugh. And I'm not turning to like the whole bash on Star Wars, but that's the earliest I can remember when things started getting a little political in entertainment. I admire your work and what you are doing. Keep creating, Doctor. Yes, I will. Uh, so when is your next stream? Is it going to be a continuation? Yeah, it's definitely going to be a continuation of the book. Again, we're still in the first section. The first section lasts from the prologue to the 11th chapter. The 12th chapter begins the second section. I say the Sega Genesis, my favorite back then console-wise, or even playing my PSP or PS Vita, playing the hits only on those handhelds. Black Ops Declassified is amazing on the Vita. Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Declassified. And I wish I knew about that at the time and actually had a PS Vita. I slept on the PS Vita for a very long time until I played it with basically a friend. And I'm like, wow, this is so good. This is the PS Vita. Is this good? Wow. Yeah. Seeing you do your stuff inspires me to get off my old anime geezer. Hey, man. That's okay. We look, man. I've been kind of lazy a little bit too, but I think tonight basically tonight. Tomorrow is today, but later on tomorrow or today, I mean, I will probably get back to the book, one of the books, I should say, and I'm working on things slowly but sure. I wouldn't say slowly but steadily, as much as I can within humanly possible. I was gonna catch your stream from the beginning from the server, but traffic is killer. Oh man, traffic for real, dude. Ugh, no one likes traffic. Nobody likes traffic. Vita had classics, MK9 handheld, Reality Fighters, Killzone, Mercenaries. Thought about trying their Silent Hill game, possibly Sly Cooper collection. Yeah, and that's all good and stuff too. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I kind of lost interest in gaming, just because of what's been being put out, and they're demanding like an exorbitant amount of money. I saw this on a friend actually messaged me about this new WWE game coming out, and he likes wrestling. I like wrestling too, but I don't know anything about the current state of WWE other than it is very corporate. It looks very corporate now, and the only superstar I can think of is the woman, the female wrestler known as Rhea Ripley, and she's very good looking too. She's a very good looking goth wrestler. But anyway, I digress. That's the only thing I can think of right now for WWE. I don't know any other superstar, like new superstar. But they're new. This new game that's coming out, he showed me like the pricing. The pricing is like $129. Now, granted, I don't know if he's like on the premium, the premium version or something like that. He probably was on the premium version, but from what I saw, it was $129, and I'm like, what? Who's going to pay $120? Well, I already know who's going to pay $129, but it definitely won't be me. But I'm like, there's no way I would ever pay $129 for a freaking video game, unless, and it's digital too. It was digital. I can see if I get like look. There's only been one time I actually spent a lot of money on a game. It was a collector's item from Darksiders 3, and I got with it. I got like a necklace. I got an art book. I got 4 freaking statues. Basically, I was paying for the statues, not even the game. I was paying for the 4 statues, and they were amazing. That was the only time I actually went. I spent like hundreds of dollars on that on a game, and it was well worth it. Did you see the video music by Skybrow's Amelia? No, I haven't. Amelia, Amelia's. Is that UK girl? That UK mascot? Well, the unofficial UK mascot, I should say. The only wrestler game I love was WrestleMania for PS3 since they created character. Yeah, you're talking about SmackDown versus Raw, right? Dude, SmackDown versus Raw. Oh my gosh, so good. Especially 2011. 2010 sucked. 2010 SmackDown versus Raw 2010 sucked. It was bland. I don't know what was about it, but it was just a bland game. But 2011 was so fun. And especially when you could put your own music in there too. Remember those days? Now it's like, get Music Mafia on you just because you. It's so crazy, dude. We had a lot more. There's the reason why I want to go back to the 2000s to the early 2010s because we had a lot more options back then than we do now. We had a lot more options. Things were actually better for business back then than it is now, or at least I believe it is or was. Everything's too expensive, and he's agreeing with me. Yep. I stopped completely with consoles. I haven't seen or even played mine in I think a year at this point since my PC just does it all. Yeah. Oh, Legends of WrestleMania. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good game. I think that's a sleeper game to be honest. That was a sleeper game, but that was one of the games. That was one of the games I traded in to get Black Ops 2 though. I traded in some. I mean, I wanted Black Ops 2 so bad that for pre-ordering wise. I mean, uh, I actually traded in my copy of Halo 3. Oh my gosh, oh dude, I regret that decision. But at the same time, I got Black Ops 2. But I regret that decision. I still do to this day anyway. But I'm like, man, I don't know. I mean, it was a good game. It was equivalent exchange to me. Halo 3 for Black Ops 2. Now I knew Black Ops 2 was gonna be a good game. Yeah, same million from UK. It's a banger. maybe maybe one day I would probably do like a little uh do like a little thing with Amelia, like how my version of Amelia would be. But I don't know. I kind of want to stay away from that stuff just because it's cool. Like, no, don't get me wrong. I like the character. I do. I like the character. I like how she stands for actual what 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 Britain or the UK should really be and has always should be. I but I just I don't know. Maybe one day. I never thought of it. I just like, okay, yeah, that's a character. Cool. I have so many other characters that I think are better and that I actually love and care about. I just but I acknowledge Amelia. I do. I definitely do. I love hearing the songs for that game, like Hulk Hogan. I'm a real American. Yeah, real American. Yeah. Dun, 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 when it comes crashing down. Yeah. Yeah. That was the first time the controls were kind of wonky a little bit too. I remember when I first played that, I was like, "What the?" I was annoyed when I was trying to figure out like the controls because you're going from when I went from SmackDown versus Raw to like Legends of WrestleMania, and I'm having a tough time trying to figure it out. I'm like, it was okay game. I'll be honest. Like, this is the reason why I say it's a sleeper hit, because when I think about it now, I'm like, man, it was a fun game. I won't lie, it was a fun game. Me and my brother would actually play it a lot. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but you gotta think. I think Legends of WrestleMania was like, I think it came out a year or the same year as SmackDown vs. Raw 2011. I could be wrong, but either way, me and my brother opted to play more SmackDown vs. Raw than Legends of WrestleMania. But whenever we wanted to try, do something like change the pace, we would play Legends of WrestleMania, and we reenact the different scenarios too. That was the cool part about it too. Playing, I mean, it was really cool playing as The Rock. I will always pick The Rock. uh, but nowadays, it's like, oh, look, he's like basically like pushover sellout now. One thing about being a youth back then was you just how oblivious you were to things. So, what makes you connect to your characters? What makes one really appeal to you as a creator? When they feel real. When they feel no, that's generic. No, not even feel real. Just they resonate. When I really resonate with them. I can't really go into detail and explain it because it's just this thing I can't really explain. But when I resonate with them and I like them very much, it's just wow, it's magical. And it's mainly a case of 9 times out of 10, I never really had a problem connecting with with characters that I make. Not really. And I'm super glad that I never had that problem. But it's just to summarize, it's just if I I resonate with them. I resonate with them from the birth of their creation, and yeah, maybe I'll need to take some time to get to know them, write them out more and stuff. But when I'm in a real big kick, when I'm on a kick with them, it's like, oh yeah, I'm really feeling the magic. And then of course it gets even better. Like, oh wow, yeah, I thought they were good, during this time, but now they're even better because I actually know them now, and they just continue to progress. I wouldn't say progress, but they continue to evolve. Like narcissism, for example. Narcy is very, I mean, obviously very very different when he's older, very different. And what thanks to that is that also is that 10 plus years ago, I was building them all up. I was building them all up with different scenarios and stuff. Now I'm trying them out in different and in the alternate universe of sorts with with my friend Neff, and we're just like, wow, these character, his character and my character, they're connecting like it's like wow, this just works. This just works. And we have the fictional families interact with each other. That's the beauty of it, dude. I mean, I hope I answered your question about that. It's the best of my ability. I also remember WWE All Star. Yeah, I remember All Stars. Yep, I remember WWE All Stars for PSP and PS2. Yep, and I know it was a cartoony, but yeah, yeah, that WWE All Stars. Yeah, they were. I think they were actually based on that one toy line that made them short but much. It was kind of freaky. I'll be honest. It was kind of freaky. I remember my brother had the Shawn Michaels one, and I'm just like, that thing looks possessed. I'm just saying C vid million Amelias. I'm not going to try. I'm not trying to do get you in anything with her. No, no, no. I understand. I understand that. I mean, my favorite wrestler game is too much for a lot of people, and that's Ultimate General. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I remember that one. I can never forget that one. Well, guys, uh, I'm not gonna keep us on for too much longer, unless you guys want to see more. If you guys want me to pull up some stuff, I'll pull up. I'll probably pull up some artwork if you want to see some artwork. Just let me know. But meanwhile, I wait on that. I guess I'll show this off. Hmm. I hate how slow this computer can be at times. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Pull it up. Pull it up. You might as well show the crowd. You still sound sick. I do. I feel a lot better. I feel a lot better. Only thing that's kind of messed with me is the coughing, and you guys notice I've been talking for 2 hours without even coughing, so that's a lot better than the last stream. But then again, I took my medicine like 2 hours ago, and it lasts for six. So, but I'm definitely a lot better, a lot better. All right, I'll share the screen. Hopefully, there's nothing crazy showing. If so, that's okay. So I just wanted to promote this. Obviously, since we're talking about gods and goddesses. Gods and Goddesses, Children of Ragnarøkkr is my debut novel for adults craving deep character arcs and unapologetic story and illustrations. Journey with six divine siblings as they ascend to godhood to claim their responsibilities while a Wraithblood shadow looms. Free sample here, first four chapters plus the prologue. So, you guys might want to check that out right here. Um, I also said if you love that sample, please support the indie epic and order your copy on Amazon now. So, yeah, just go to books to read and take you over to the link, and there you go. And here's the whole family tree. Ragnarøkkr, Hell and Destruction, Purgatory and Sanity, and of course, Heaven and Narcissism. Now, do you guys want to see the comic? Neff made a Neff made a comic, continuation of a comic. I mean, and I think it's pretty cool. I think I'll show you guys actually, but I can't show you guys the last part. The last part is let's just say it has some fan service. And no, it's not what you think. Not what you think at all. Aha, here we go. I could have done like a little thing. I don't know. I don't want. I don't know. Maybe I should put into like a little PDF or something, or I could just do this. Let me just do this. You know what? I'm not gonna show the whole thing. just because it's gonna be too much work, and my battery's kind of low. But it involves these two lovely ladies. This is Chia and Rengoku. Of course, we talked about Rengoku, so you guys should be well acquainted. And Chia saying, "You're not my target. Walk away, elf. My business is only with Imperials." And Rengoku's like, "That smell of dried iron. You're the one I've been searching for. You're a rabbit mutt." And of course, by dried iron, she means she means blood. Smell of blood. So I wasn't gonna show the whole thing, but I guess I guess I'll do that later. Ugh. Flaming. I think I showed you the thing before. I think so. And Joe, Joe, I will. You pretty much you'll see the thing in the server that we're in. You'll pretty much see it. So get your rest, dude. Ha. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that. Thing is, so uh, thing is, I don't got enough time. Just time is just, and possibly by summer, I probably won't have no time, but that's okay. It's part of a goal, to be honest. I might, I might act on that plan that I've been working on. Uh, you guys don't know about it. Well, there's been alterations, but you guys don't know about it. But I'm thinking of doing this one plan just to be ahead for when summer ends. And summer ends and the fog comes into play in winter as well. But I am planning something pretty big for myself for the winter. Thing is, though, thing is, I might, I don't, I'm not gonna try to do it around Christmas time. Definitely not gonna try to do it around the holidays. I'm trying not to, and that's because that's when everything goes up in price. But uh, then again, if I do that even just around the holidays, it's still gonna go up in price regardless. So just have to see, just to see how it goes. Honestly, or I might just reserve. I might reserve it in advance. But I gotta get my stuff ready first. So we'll see. We'll see if I be wise or if I just be dumb. Only time will tell. All right, guys, this was a good stream. Went on a little bit longer than I thought, but hey, I'll take 2 hours than four. Don't get me wrong. Last stream for 4 hours, that was fun, especially the last bit of it. That was really fun. So, thanks for being here, y'all. Peace out.